Hello everybody and welcome back. Today is day 2 of our Yosemite National Park vacation. We started out doing the Yosemite Valley Loop Trail today and we were not at all disappointed by some beautiful views. First off, walking to Camp 4, right there on the left to us was Sentinel Dome, one of the big landmarks that you can see on this trail. The Yosemite Valley Loop Trail is about 12 miles long and is considered to be a moderate level of difficulty. The trailhead starts at Camp 4, which we just walked from the Yosemite Valley Lodge over to Camp 4, and which is what you see in the background. Camp 4 is pretty famous for rock climbers, so that's kind of a nice spot to go ahead and see anyways. The other great part about this is it mirrors the road itself in the Yosemite Valley, and so you're pretty close to the road in case something happened, but you also get to have these grand moments of nature where you're just out there by yourself. We started this trail pretty early, so there weren't a lot of people, but we did run across our first stream, which was to be of many, and had our first view of El Capitan. This little meadow was in along the hike and was one of my favorite places. It has a beautiful view of everything. Starting out with El Capitan, you also get to see Three Brothers, and the views were just so amazing in that there was nobody out there. We had the whole place to ourselves. The mountains were there, the mist was coming off and the snow on the ground. Everything looked really, really beautiful. I think one of the reasons that this trail is so popular is that other than the moderate level of difficulty, you also get to see so many great monuments. In this valley alone, El Capitan, Three Brothers, you can see cathedral spires there as well, and you get to see so many other of the waterfalls that we just couldn't capture with our GoPro. I think a big thing to remember when you go to Yosemite National Park is that the early bird really does get the worm, especially during the summertime. I can't imagine doing this hike with so many people. Having it all to ourselves this morning was just a really awesome part about this hike. The trails were pretty well upkept. There were a few times where we found trees like this that were down, but for the most part it was pretty well maintained. There was some snow and ice on the ground, which is just going to be a seasonal part of it. The biggest thing that surprised me was the number of rivers that we had to cross. We crossed the Merced River at least 3 or 4 times, and not all of those were these tiny little streams. Some of them were like these big raging rivers. This was our first view of Bridal Veil Falls on this hike. Typically, it has a very wispy flow to it, which is how it got its name. But during the spring, with all of the snow melt, it tends to plunge pretty quickly down the 620 feet. The Valley Loop Trail actually connects to the Bridal Veil Falls Trail, which is about a half-mile round trip to go up to the falls and actually see it. After we crossed the Merced over a bridge and hit that bend that gave us a beautiful view of El Capitan, we started hitting some really big rivers. This was the biggest river that we had to cross, and it was still fairly early on. We hadn't made it yet to Bridal Veil Falls even on the hike, and so it made for the rest of the hike a little bit more difficult just because we were hiking in with our shoes having a lot of water in it. So whenever I did finally see Yosemite Falls, I was pretty excited because I knew the end of the hike was. Since we finished our hike before noon, we were able to do some pavement exploring. So there are a lot of little shops and stores as well as places to eat in the Yosemite Valley. And the first place that we decided to go was this visitor center. The visitor center is a great place to get information if you're just doing a day hike or if you're just coming in for a day visit, as well as if you're planning on doing any camping, you can get your permits here. They also have this little bookstore, which is a great place if you're looking for any gifts that you want to buy. A lot of the proceeds go to the park. This is the Yosemite Wilderness Center, and it was not open while we were there, but I would say during the summertime, that's the place where you really want to go and get your permits. The next place that we went to was the Ansel Adams Gallery, and this is actually the world headquarters for Ansel Adams photography. As you would expect, they don't allow any photography in there, so I couldn't do any filming there. The next place that we went was Degnan's kitchen and dining area, and here they have pizzas. They also have sandwiches that you can purchase, as well as some baked goods. This is a pretty nice place to eat, and if you're concerned about any gluten intolerance, they do have gluten-free food here for you to eat, and they have a pretty decent selection of that as well. Besides the stuff that they can cook and have ready-made for you, there are grocery stores in the Yosemite Valley, so if you happen to have a cabin that you can cook in or you're camping, there are places for you to go and get fresh fruits, vegetables, everything you really need to make a full meal. If you've watched our first video, then you know that we stayed in the Yosemite Valley Lodge, so there was nowhere for us to cook. We did have a little refrigerator, so if we wanted to keep drinks or anything that could be ready-made, then we could go ahead and store that, but otherwise we did have to eat out. This is the Degnan's dining area downstairs. Up those stairs is to the burrito place that I talked about. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the fire and then a last shot of the pizza that we ate, and I hope that you guys have a great day and this was informative for you. If you like it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.